land that around our site is a wooded savanna. There's plenty of grass there. The grass grows higher than your head. There was a time when there were millions of wildebeest and water buffalo, or Cape buffalo, and elephants and giraffes and zebras and antelope. You name it. There were cud-chewing animals there to eat this grass and utilize it. But those have all been hunted out. There's none of those left. The largest animals we have are in our area are mostly the rats and mice. And so the people burn the grass now so they can get at those rats and mice. But that's a very inefficient use of that grass, and it's harming the environment. Every year you burn off small trees, you scar the bigger trees so you can't get good lumber from them. It fills the air with ash, which adversely affects the environment. It adversely affects the fertility of the soil. We wanted them to stop burning, and of course there's a way to use that grass more efficiently than burning it. And that is God has created species of animals, such as cud-chewing animals, who can use that grass. Next. We had to teach them to make stalls, to use ropes to control the animals, to train them. You may recall 3 years ago, I was raising funds to buy bush cattle, and they are absolutely vicious. Next. This is one of them. We call this one Panda. She had very long, sharp horns, and she wasn't only a danger to us, she was a danger to the other cattle. And so we trimmed them so that she couldn't harm them as badly. These bush cattle are vicious, and they can kick you 3 times before you hit the floor. So they're quite a challenge to work with. But they were also a good lesson to my workers and to others who watched us train and milk these cattle, that they can be trained. And you simply have to know how to apply the ropes and the holds on these animals so that they can be controlled and so they can't kick. Next. You can see in the background, if you go back to that last picture, just use this
backspace.
Use your directions. Yeah, this up, this back, and this down. All right, in the background, you can see we have 70 goats back there. This term we bought about 20 sheep now, and we're hoping that we've got a very good buck sheep, and we hope to have a lot more in the next 3 years. Next. These are the offspring of these bush cattle combined with Holstein, with a very good Holstein bull. I was explaining to Jay earlier that we picked the right bull because he seems to sire mostly heifer calves. And like the first 8 calves we got last year were females, one after another, female, female, female. We couldn't believe it. And then, so we were getting about 70, 75%. And it happened again this year, mostly females. Jay says it'll even out, but I hope not for a while. Because this means that we'll have far more good quality milking cows in just a couple of years. So we're very happy this has gone well in the last 3 years, and I want to thank those churches that raised funds for those bush cows. The bush cows were basically a vehicle to quickly increase our herd, and they're not good milkers. They're cantankerous. They only produce about 2 liters or 1 liter at a milking, or we can get 7 or 8 liters per milking from these Holstein cattle once they're milking. Next. The largest part of our project has been our chicken project. We now have 2,500 chickens. We're producing about 2,000 eggs a day. When we first started the chicken project, we were hardly able to sell 100 or 200 eggs. People were not used to eating eggs. There was a taboo that women and children were not supposed to eat eggs. And so we had to really work with the people to convince them that eggs are an important form of protein, very, very important for children and women. And in fact, in that society, it was only the men that were allowed to eat eggs. And so a lot had to change. We've worked on it, though, and slowly we've increased the demand. We've lowered the price of eggs by about 30%. And this has also greatly helped to increase the demand for eggs. And so we're very excited about this. We had, when I first came back 3 years ago, there was a crisis. There was a maize shortage in the country, and the price of maize went very high, and we had to liquidate a share of our chicken flock. But since then, we've built it up. We now are very careful to buy maize several months in advance so that we don't get caught in a price panic like happened that year, because even the large chicken producers had to liquidate their flocks because of lack of grain that year. Next. These are the eggs on the shelf being prepared for shipment. I have to go in about 3 times a week with my Toyota Land Cruiser, that new one. It's really nice to have that with the power steering especially. We have to take in, it's a truck full of 9 cases of eggs that we're able to sell about every 3 days. Next. We have pork, we have pigs at our site, and they are a good source of meat. They grow fast, they're very efficient, and they are good. They're omnivores, they can eat whatever, basically anything that's edible they can eat. They eat banana peels, they eat rotten cabbages, they'll eat gleanings from different crops, and they're very efficient at growing. They can grow to 220 pounds in just 5.5 or 6 months. They have a feed conversion efficiency of about 2 pounds of grain will make 1 pound of pork, so they're incredibly efficient. Only chickens surpass that. Next. So if you have 12 pigs, you can do the math, and you can see that litter of pigs will weigh over a ton in just 6 months. Pigs are important because they also have a lot of fat in their meat and under their skin. We can boil that down to make lard, and the oil is very important in the diet because people there are deficient quite often in oil in their diet. Next. We can make simple shelters with thatch and just poles from the forest to keep those pigs safe. Next.